When I first got started homesteading, I was super intimidated by the idea of raising turkeys. And I'm not exactly sure why. I think it's because they are just so much larger than chickens. They seemed more complicated. I had already done laying hens, and so jumping into the meat chickens wasn't so scary, but then it was like a whole nother species. What do I feed them? Where do they live? What are their special requirements? But after raising them now, turkeys are, I would say, my favorite meat animal to raise. They are so fun. They're so quirky. They love people. So today I wanted to talk through the 3 different life stages that turkeys go through, how I raise them during those 3 different lifestyles. And this is all stuff I learned being an intern at Joel Salatin's Polyface farm. So let's get started. So when you first get your turkeys, just like any other type of poultry, you're gonna want to have them be in a brooder to keep them nice and warm. So they like it to be even a little warmer than chickens. They like about 95 degrees. So we keep our turks I call them turks, it's easier. We keep our turks in the brooder for the first about 4 weeks of life before they move on to the next stage. And while they're in the brooder, we're feeding them a turkey starter. It's a 24% protein, so it's a little bit higher. And other than that, they're very similar to chicks. They drink from our nipple water just fine. I haven't had any issues. I've heard some people say turkeys are so dumb, they won't drink from a nipple water. Not my experience. They have major shiny object syndrome, and so I think they really like the metal colored nipples on the water. But you'll notice anytime you go in there, if you're wearing any kind of jewelry, the neighbor girls came over with some little beads on like their anklets, and the turkeys were all about like pecking and exploring that. So they love shiny objects. So we keep them in the brooder, like I said, for about 4 weeks. During that time, they grow really fast. It's funny, even as young turkey poults are what they call young turkeys, they'll be like puffing up and strutting around as these tiny little babies. So brooding turkeys, extremely similar to brooding chicks. There's not really any difference there. Once the turkeys are about 4 weeks old, that's when I move them outdoors. So they're gonna have enough feathers to be able to self-regulate their temperature. And for the next 4 weeks of their life, they are gonna spend time in our broiler shelters. So these are the portable mobile chicken coops. They're about 2 feet tall. They keep them protected from predators, and they are moved every single day to fresh pasture. So they'll stay in there just like how we raise our meat chickens. I still give them that higher protein percentage feed, that 24% feed, and they live exactly the same as the meat chickens. So if you've done broiler chickens before, this stage, very, very similar. Move to fresh grass. They can use the same feeder, the same waterer. Are you sensing any kind of similarities here? Raising meat chickens is very similar to raising meat turkeys. So they're gonna stay in there for 4 weeks, and the main purpose of putting them in that area for 4 weeks is to give them a chance to grow up and get sizable enough that they can then go into the electric poultry netting and not be able to slip through. If you just move them directly from the brooder, so stage 1 to stage 3, and skip this middle stage with the broiler shelter, you will have escaping turkeys, which not ideal. So once those turkeys are about 8 weeks old, they are big enough to head to their final stage, and that is on pasture in electric poultry netting. So once the turkeys are about 8 weeks old, they are ready to move out to the field in electric poultry netting. And this is my favorite part. They're here for about 6 to 8 weeks, depending on when you process. I normally process my turkeys between 14 and 16 weeks, depending on the size of bird that I want. So they get to move out here, and this is where their personality really shines. You will come out in the morning and they will come running towards you. They look like little dinosaurs. They are so naturally friendly with people, which you don't really find with other birds, like especially our ducks. They run away. So They will run towards you making happy noises. They love when you feed them. They're so vocal. They make so many different noises. That's one of the things that I personally love about them. They stay in here. We move this netting around whenever they need access to fresh pasture. So that really depends on how big of an area you give them. They've actually been here for probably a week or two. I've lost track, but they'll be moving soon. And when they're in this, the key things that you need are, you still need feed. I still use the same metal trough feeder. You still need water. You can either use a Plas and Bell water like you use in your broiler shelter, rigged up to something, or I have a little mini trough that I just fill with a hose, and it makes it super, super simple. And then you're going to need your electric netting with an energizer. And I've used a solar energizer before, or right now I just have this hooked up to our perimeter fence, which makes it really, really easy. And that is to protect them from predators. It's less so about them, it's more so about keeping them safe. And then you'll need some kind of shelter. So I have, right now, I'm using our old goat shelter for them. So they can hop in there. There's actually some bars that they can sit and roost in if they want, but it gives them enough shade and protection from rain. What I will be moving them towards though shortly, because our goats are gonna need that shelter back, they're gonna be moving out of a spot, is our turkey shelter. And turkeys are incredibly robust once they get to this age. They don't need a lot of shelter. So it's literally just this skeleton with roost bars, and I don't have a roof on this right now. I need to put a roof on it, but this will have a roof. I have just used a tarp in the past. This year I'm actually going to put some plastic paneling on top, but there are no sides. It's just a roof, and they do just fine in that. They really don't need much. At this stage, if you really want to encourage fast growth, you can keep them on that 24%, or you can drop them down to more of like a 19 to 21% protein if you want to slow down their growth. So either one will work. And that's it, guys. They are so simple to raise. It's really not too hard. It's one of the highlights of my day, coming out here, checking on them, having them run towards me all happy, watching as they get big and they start to strut. It is so much fun. So if you have any questions about raising turkeys and these 3 different life stages they go through, please put them down in the comments. I would love to answer those for you, and have a great rest of your day.